Oh, y'all, boy, y'all better be glad that I remembered to do this podcast episode. Listen, I'm full as a tick, okay? Fuller than the Billy Goat Gruff himself, okay? Um, but yeah, what's goody and hoodie peeps? Happy Manic Monday, happy Easter Monday, okay? I hope your weekend was well. I was very productive. I got a lot of my official spring cleaning done. I still gotta wipe down some of these walls because I be spilling and splashing stuff and I don't even know how I got the way it was and where it went. Okay. But today's episode is recognizing red flags. Okay. Um, yeah. Don't be a damn fool. Okay. All right. So we'll get started with this episode. This is season 2, episode Remain on the fifth floor. So let's just get into it, shall we? All right. What's goody in the hoodie peeps, or shall I say, what's goody in the cardigan today? Okay. Um, as I said in the intro, we're gonna be talking about red flags. Yeah, let's talk about it. First, let's define what a red flag is. Let's first define a red flag, okay? A red flag is a behavior, attitude, or pattern that signals potential problems to come. I know you can think of some like right now. Okay. The warning signs of trouble. Hmm. Red flags are important and ignoring them can lead to heartache, wasted time, emotional distress. And we don't like that for us. We don't. Okay. They are often subtle and sometimes hard to identify, especially in the beginning stages. I can think of a few right now. Okay. From the past. Right. Um, But let's get into it first. Let's get into it first. Now, this is just me. At first, you might think they're cute. Okay. Oh, they don't want to argue, so he just leave. Just leave. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to be about it. Like it's not cute, y'all. Okay, especially if they leave and you're really trying to have an important conversation. So now you're left to just sit there and stew in your thoughts. And I don't know if y'all like me. I ain't crazy in that. But I don't know if y'all like me. The more you sit and think about it and you can't express it, you can't get it out, the madder you get. Like the worse it's going when you get back. Oh, the conversation ain't done. Matter of fact, I'm even more heated now. That might be a red flag. Don't judge me. Okay, so yeah, that's my top red flag. I like to communicate in a sense, right? And I think innately we all do. But a conversation works two ways. I'm talking to you, you listen, you talk to me, I listen. Sometimes we talk to and at each other. The goal isn't to talk over each other, is to, especially like if I feel like you're not listening to me. Now we talking at the same time because I haven't gotten my point across yet. And I don't know if y'all like me, but I have a short memory. So if I don't get it out when it's on my brain, I'm 5 minutes later, I don't forgot what I was about to say. And now I'm even more mad because like what I had to say was important, but you was talking and what I was trying to talk, and I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, let me calm down. Okay. But yeah, I can't stand when a significant other walks out while we're trying to have a conversation. Like, so what I'm saying not important. You don't want to hear me, cuz? So, but yeah, that's one of my top red flags. Like, even if you don't want to listen to me, just look at me, pretend like you heard me. Even if I gotta repeat it later, I'll probably be forgot anyway. Just give me that engagement. But when you walk out on me, that says you don't respect me, right? That says what I'm saying is not important, and you don't want to hear shit I got to say, and I got to say a lot to Craig. Okay, but yeah, that's just that. And I do understand what's a red flag to me may not be red flags to others, because I do know that cooler heads prevail. Now, yes, if we both on 10, then one of us definitely need to walk away. But one of us definitely need to walk away, right? But if I'm in the middle of a thought and it's not an argument at this point, and I'm just trying to tell you something and you walk off, now I get it. Coming from somebody that has a short attention span and forgets very fast, we could be talking about something. Now I may not necessarily leave the room, but I'll start dilly dallying over here and doing this and doing that. I'm still listening. I'm multitasking. I'm a multifunctional being, right? But I do get distracted, but I'm still hearing what you got to say. But I might start washing the dishes. Not like noisily, not to be like a butthole or anything like that. But it just came to my head that, oh, in the middle of us having this conversation, I also need to do the dishes. And sorry if y'all hear that noise in the background. That's the ice machine. But yeah, but that's just me. Now I try not to do those things because usually I can catch myself when it's happening, because I'm usually hyped up on like caffeine, sugar, or lack of sleep or something like that, and you'll start talking. I'll be like squirrel, but I'm right back. I'm right. We. I'm sorry, baby. What you said? Like I'm gonna give it to you soft. I ain't gonna be like, okay, and oh damn, what'd you just say? I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna try my best to focus and hone in on what you, because I'm gonna give you the respect that I want you to give me, right? And that's the bottom line. Now, if you leave and okay, let me clear something up. I don't mean the red flag is me talking to you, you leave and you go in the bathroom. Now, if you go in the bathroom, close the door, and you don't come out for a couple of hours, I'm gonna feel type of way unless you got diarrhea or something. But I mean, like I'm talking to you and you walk clean out that front door. Don't say I'll be back. Don't say we'll talk about this later. You just walk out the front door. Okay, I'm trying not to curse, but you just walk out the front door, right? And then you don't say where you're going. You know, so now not only am I upset that we didn't finish this conversation, but now I'm upset because I haven't heard from you in a couple of hours. I don't know if you've been hit by a car. I don't know if you've been mauled by a cougar, whatever the hell we got here. I don't know. And then hours later, you come back when you think I'm no longer thinking about it. Well, no, because now I'm not crazy. I swear I'm not crazy. But now I done replayed this conversation that's not an argument yet, but it's about to be. I done replayed this conversation in my head 15,000 times, and I can't understand why you just went out that front door and didn't say nothing, right? So now that's when things get a little heated. My demeanor gonna change. Not only have I thought about how I didn't finish the conversation or how we didn't finish the conversation, but how you left, what you might be doing while you gone, whether you went up the street to the bar or whether you went to the club, whether you went to go work out. I don't know the hell you went to go do, but you went to go do something. I don't like what it was that you went to go do because you ain't tell me what you finna go. Woosah. Past transgressions. Okay. But yeah, just if you feel like the conversation that we're having isn't leading anywhere for you at this moment and you feel like you're about to get upset, I do understand you leaving. Cooler heads do prevail. But at least say, all right, babe, look, we can continue this later. I'm gonna go to the store real quick. Or you can, what makes more sense, hey, so I feel myself getting upset. So I'm gonna separate myself at this moment and we can reconvene later. That makes more sense, right? Don't just walk out the front door. You walk out the front door, I'm gonna lock it. I probably change the locks because I'm petty, a little bit, just a little bit. All right. So, but yeah, that's it. And this is all stuff from the past. I wouldn't change the locks today, but I might put a chair behind the door. Just don't leave and don't tell me where you're going. Say bye, kiss me on the forehead, Make me melt inside and just tell me you'll talk to me later. Can you do that? Can you do that for me? Okay, anyway, moving on. More commonly, when it comes to red flags, you need to watch out for controlling behaviors, jealousy, possessiveness, and attempts to isolate you from your family and friends. That also goes into DV, but we're not gonna get into that. We talking about red flags, okay? But a lot of a lot of things that are coming in red flags are also coming in DV before it happens, leading up to. It's also coming in narcissist, because the most people that have red flags is narcissists. But that's neither here nor there, because I know a few. I ain't gonna call no names. I ain't gonna point no fingers, okay? But another red flag can also be them, what do they call it? Love bombing and demanding constant attention. Pause. I'm a Cancer, okay? I do need love and affection, but like I said, if you kiss me on my forehead and tell me everything gonna be all right, and give me a little hug or something, and then leave, okay? I'm okay. I'm a melt like chocolate, okay? Because that's just what it is. But demanding attention, and I know you know these people, right? It can be male or female, mostly. I ain't even gonna point it out, but it could be male or female, right? And I always joke and say I'm clingy, but I work a job, okay? I do art. I have a lot of extended hobbies and crafts, and even art isn't a hobby for me. It's what I do, right? So I have a lot of things to keep me preoccupied, keep me busy, keep me distracted, right? So like I said, you give me a little hug, you tell me you love me every once in a while, kiss my big ass forehead. I'm good for a hot second. But you know the people that are constantly up under you, um, damn, they're drinking your bath water. Okay, obsessed. I want you to be a little bit obsessed with your partner, right? Let them know you care. Let them know you're there. Don't be a stone cold biatch, okay? Um, but don't be a cat, because you know how, well, not all cats are this way, because you get a feral or a stray, there you go. But you know how you get them rescues and they finally open themselves up to loving you, and then you have to basically prime off your head, like they'll be stuck to you. That type of demand and attention. You can't pee without the person asking you what you're doing in the bathroom, right? You can't take a shower without them asking you where you going, who you getting ready for, why you trying to smell good. What? Uh, Hygiene. I like to wipe my. Anyway, moving on. Like I said, I do require a little love, little attention, little affection. Okay, make me melt, babe. Make me melt in your arms. You know what I'm talking about? You give me what I need. I'm gonna give you what you need. That little forehead kiss is everything, though. Kiss me on my forehead and get the fuck out of my face. You know what I'm talking about? After that, I'm good. Okay, truly. But we ain't talking about me. We talking about red flags. Let me. I was having a moment. I was reminiscing a little bit. But listen, red flags is also a lack of respect, right? Disregarding your feelings, belittling you, constantly putting you down, right? Calling you out your name, but not calling you out your name, right? Um, Not even calling you out of your name. What am I trying to say? Okay, for instance, saying something about your weight but not calling you fat, right? Um, Telling you've put on a few pounds. It's you, it's your body. You know you put on a few pounds, right? Like you knew that when you ate that last snack that you was gonna gain a few pounds. Okay, but don't be trying to call it out. Don't be trying to bring this to my attention. But there's a way to do things, right? Now, if you say, "Babe, let's go to the gym together," oh, I'm there real quick, stat. in a hurry, okay? But calling me the Michelin man or something. Anyway, belittling your opinion. Like if you walk in a room with Bay, he's sitting there with his guy friends, they talking about something. And I ain't ask your opinion, but you chime in a little bit. Now, if he respects you, he'll be like, yeah, but that's a good idea. Even if he don't use your idea, but he'll be like, hey, babe, that's a good idea. Not dismissing you, but letting you know I heard what you said. Okay, but now, me and the guys is talking, go about your damn business. Right. But you have some men that'll just say, okay, sit down and be quiet. The man is talking. The men are talking. What? Okay, anyway. Also narcissist. Anyway, being unable to communicate, hence the walking away part that I spoke about earlier. Red flag. Avoiding difficult conversations, refusing to compromise, constantly blaming you for their shortcomings. Telling you, you made me feel less than a man because this, that, and the third. Right? Now, a way to effectively communicate is by using I statements. I felt less than a man when you said or you did A, B, C, and D, right? Or I can't never get nothing done because you always doing this. Versus, babe, I'm trying to do some work right now. Give me 5-10 minutes and I'll be in there. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. You get what I'm saying? It's a way to communicate without disrespecting your partner. Is the best way I could put it. Now, mind y'all, you ain't got to take my advice at all. I am not a professional. Okay, I took a few classes. Okay, but I ain't go back to get to do the dissertation. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, let's talk about the power of healthy communication. Right, open and honest communication is essential. And I cannot remember what the guy said, but recently I was watching a video on IG or Facebook or something, and he was like, communication is not the key. Something along the lines, not how you communicate is key. It was something along communicate. Oh, he was like, communication is not the key. It's listening. Something, I don't know. Anyway, it made no sense. But what he thought he sounded smart though. But you can't have one without the other. You can't actively or effectively listen to somebody if y'all aren't communicating to begin with. But I don't want to misquote him. Just know it was special. Okay. Open and honest communication is essential. Like I said, try using I statements to communicate and express feelings, because when you use I, you're communicating without blame. I feel this way because A, B, C, and D, right? Or I feel like you could have done this better by A, B, C, and D. And that's probably not the best example, but I always feel, which it doesn't, unless you're dealing with your partner, it really don't matter how you feel when you're dealing with other people, other than the fact that the respect or lack of respect is going to come into play. But I feel like there's more respect when we can effectively communicate, right? We may not always agree, but we can agree to disagree in a healthy way without argument, without yelling and throwing pots and pans and all of these things, right? I always feel more confident when, even if I'm wrong, instead of just, yelling and screaming and kicking and biting my head off and telling me how I'm wrong and why I'm wrong and I did this and I did that. If you come to me and you say, baby, listen, I get what you was trying to do, but it may have been executed better if you had done it this way. Ugh, do you know how soft that will make me? Do you know how moist? Sorry. But do you know how soft? Because I do have a hard exterior. Because it's the yeah, I'm a crab. I'm a Cancer, right? It's to hide my little soft interior. But I ain't gonna tell y'all all my secrets because then y'all gonna be trying to figure out how to break me down. Don't break me down, Creed. Don't break me down, okay? But learn active listening so you can effectively listen to your partner, right? And I learned this in college. Probably before then. Nah, they wasn't that smart in high school. I learned this in I learned this in college, right? Because A, for the major or the program that I was in, right? Um, we had a lot of instructors from all walks of life, basically not teaching the same subject, but a bunch of similar subjects, right? And they all reverted back to active listening, right? Um, and especially like if, because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I'm a blurred, right? Especially like when I'm in school and I'm really focused on what I'm learning and I really like the subject, I can be a little blurred, right? But the lesson was somewhere around first hear the problem, see the problem, figure the problem out, right? And don't just blurt out your answers. He almost took us back to raising our hand like we was in high school, right? But don't just blurt out your answer. Figure out how you're gonna word the answer, and then let me know you got it. Of course, you know he the instructor. He gonna call on you, and then you give out your answer, right? But you also had to actively listen to your teammates, or if it was a group project, your other peers. You had to listen to everyone else in the class because no answer was a wrong answer in that sense. Like there's a way, there's the way, and then there might be your way, my way, and the highway, right? So, basically trying to teach us that if we actively listen, we can actually hear the problem that's being presented and figure out a way that's to work it out, right? And mainly because it was a class that I probably did not like at all. But basically, he was trying to teach us how to actively listen. So if you and your partner are having a conversation and you notice that y'all have issues with communication, and I was at a big age when I learned this because I'm from the South. I'm from a big family. I'm the baby of the family. Well, immediate family. And not like we were all fighting for attention or fighting to be heard, but we just come from a family where all of us talk at the same time and we understand exactly what everybody is saying, right? And I ran into this issue in a past relationship as well, to where it may have even seemed like I was argumentative or combative or whatever, or I just wanted the last word. And I've heard that my whole life. Me and my sister is like, "Oh, you just trying to get the last word." Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. That's how we communicate. If you hear me and my sister, if you hear me and my sister on the phone, now we know how to active listen and listen. We got some degrees under our belt. We got some school. We got some work. We got some career choices under our belt that have allowed us to actively listen over the years, right? But when we get excited or passionate about something, just like now, we can go. I tell y'all in every video, I ramble, right? And half of the time, it may not make no sense to y'all, but it made perfect sense in my head. But in one of my past career paths, once I figured this thing out, and they didn't have to tell me, but I brought it up, and they was kind of like, "Well, I'm glad you brought it up." But I told them, "Hey, listen, if there's ever a time that we're having a conversation or we're communicating, and you feel like I'm talking over you, or I'm not listening to what you're saying, and basically, like if I'm rambling, let me know. I'll try to catch myself when I do it, and I'll stop." Right? I was like, I do know that for some people, it's not a problem for us. It's not a problem for the people in my family. But for some people, it's a problem. I'm like, hey, if I'm talking over you, let me know because a lot of times I just get excited, and especially if I had caffeine or chocolate, I'm right. And so my supervisor told me, he was like, "Oh, you don't have to have a problem with that because I'm telling your ass to shut up." And I was like, "Oh, clutching my pearls! How dare you, sir?" And me and that supervisor was thick as thieves, right? And so, because I know for me, it can come off like back to the classroom setting. For me, it can come off as I don't want to be wrong or that I know it all, and that's not the case. It's just I'm excited, I'm passionate, and even though you may think I'm not actively listening, I heard everything you said, but I want you to hear what I'm saying right now, right? But it's for me, it's not an issue. For my family, it's not an issue. Like I could tell you now, because I've caught myself and I've tried to get better at it. Me and my uncle talk on the phone all the time. Me, my uncle, and my grandma. And now I see it. Like I didn't see it before because that's just the way my family communicates. But because now I have less patience, I'm getting older. And because it was brought to my attention, now when they do it, I'm like, and like I don't say anything to them because I know that's how we communicate. But every now and again, because my uncle won't let you get a word in edgewise. Sometimes I have to tell her, "Hey, let me finish what I'm saying because I'm gonna forget." And that's the main thing for me. Let me say what I'm gonna say because I'm gonna forget. And after that, then you can continue, right? But me and my family, a lot of my immediate family, we talk on a regular basis, and it's not as bad with my sister and I because we have an understanding. Unless now it is sometimes she might think I'm yelling at her probably because I don't have my Bluetooth in and I got on speakerphone or something like that. But we'll be talking and she'll be like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I'm like, "Ain't nobody yelling at you." But that's just the way that we communicate. Anyway, back to it. I told y'all I can ramble, right? But learn active listening and truly try to understand your significant other's perspective, right? That was the whole point of the active listening. Take in what they're saying and make sure you have an understanding of what they said before you blurt something out because they can get you in an argument too. You might have misinterpreted, misheard, misunderstood. The tone might have raised a little bit. Like, I know damn well you ain't. But that's really all it takes to communicate effectively, y'all. And if you ever took criminal justice, like that's probably one of the first things you're gonna learn is active listening. All right, y'all. So we talked about boundaries a few episodes ago, right? Set healthy boundaries to protect yourself. And if a person has an issue with the boundaries that you set, then they probably don't understand you and they're probably not for you anyway, right? So save yourself the trouble. Boundaries are crucial for your well being. And for a lot of people with anxiety, mental health issues, I know some things can't be prevented, but a lot of things could have been prevented had they had those healthy boundaries or had someone taught them about boundaries in their early stages of life, right? Um, be clear. Be clear as spring water. Say what you mean what you say. Don't stray away from it. Communicate your needs, your limits, and everything else with confidence, right? If you say something, I tell people all the time, you said it, stand on it. Say it with your chest. It is what it is. Either I'm gonna take it or I'm gonna leave it. Most times I'm gonna leave, but I'm either gonna take it or I'm gonna leave it. Say it with your whole chest. Okay. Now I do need to work on that myself because a lot of times my shyness, and believe it or not, people, I am shy. People don't believe I'm shy. That's the ambivert in me. Okay. I'm an extrovert when I need to be, but I be so ready to crawl back up in my shell. Okay. But I need to work on communicating my needs and my limits with confidence, right? I know how to set boundaries, but Well, it depends. It depends on the person. If I set boundaries with certain people, that I won't stick to them. Now, there's a few people that I live that I might call myself putting my foot down and setting the boundary, and then I be like, okay, but that's neither here nor there. Don't judge me, judge your man. Okay, but I need to be more confident, right? You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be boisterous. You just have to be confident. Say what you mean to me, what you say, and say it with your whole chest. Now, I say it with my left titty a little bit, but I don't say it with the right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just being silly. It's late and I'm ready for bed. Okay, but um, yeah, say it with confidence. If you say no with confidence. Sometimes you have to say no. Okay, help, no. All right. Sometimes you gotta just do that. Okay, but yeah, you just did on it. Okay. Distance yourself from unhealthy situations, right? And that goes along with setting boundaries. Sometimes people are the unhealthy situation. Okay, sometimes you have to take a step back and you have to look at it from another angle. Like, if it wasn't this person but this person, would I still allow that behavior? If this person wasn't my first cousin but my best friend, would I allow them to say that to me? Sometimes you have to look at your relationship the same way. If this was a stranger on the street, I know damn well I wouldn't let them talk to me like this. So why is the person that I supposed to love that's supposed to love me back talking to me like that, right? And sometimes people don't realize their tone. Sometimes they don't realize their demeanor, especially in in my career path and some others' career paths, right? Especially in our career path, we have to exude a sternness, a toughness. I'm gonna break your face. No, I'm just playing. But we have to exude that confidence. We have to exude that tough exterior, right? And again, I told y'all I'm like a little crumble cookie. I'm a crumble on the inside, but on the outside, if you don't know me, you might think I ain't gonna say Ford tough because I don't like Fords. I'm built Chevy tough. I'm hard. No, wait. What's like a rock? Oh, is that Chevy? I don't know. Anyway, um, but yeah, distance yourself from unhealthy situations. All right, moving forward, y'all. Recognize that you are deserving of a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Know your mother worth. Okay, and I say this to my lady friends all the time. And not that they don't know their worth, but it get lonely out here, y'all. And sometimes we be willing to settle for that we shouldn't settle for. Okay, but in that aspect, know your worth. Like, do I get a little cold sometimes? Do I get a little lonely, lonely, lonely? Yeah. If you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. However the saying go, I don't know. My brain ain't braining. Okay, but put your foot down, stand 10 toes down on what you say. Mean what you say. What you mean to mean what you say. Okay. Seek support from your friends, your family, your besties, or a therapist. Ain't no shame in the game. If you need to, whoever you need to talk to get your mind right and to get on the level that you need to be on to see the red flags coming and duck them like a dodgeball, right? But on that note, that's it. That's the end of this episode, y'all. But on that note, good night, y'all. Peace.